Hello, I'm Josh. I'm one of the co-founders here at Kato, and I'm here to answer one of the questions that we get asked more than any, and that is, why do we use Japanese steel in our blades? Our handles are made in the UK, the leather scabbards that we use are made in the UK, we live in the UK, so why on earth are we using Japanese steel? Well, there's really kind of two answers to that question. The first is more sort of left brain, logical, and then there's a more, I guess, emotional, sort of right side of the brain element to it as well. The first, more logical reason for using Japanese steel is to do with quality. The Japanese have been making steel for centuries. I mean, even back to the 4th century AD, when a swordsmith called Amakuni developed the first ever straight-edge sword. And even, fast forward through hundreds of years of swordsmithing and blade making, and Japan remains one of the global centers of excellence when it comes to the development of steel and the manufacture of blades, particularly in a city called Seki, which is where we source our Japanese steel from. The difficulty when you're choosing a steel to use in knife blades is this trade-off between, on the one hand, hardness and therefore sharpness, but on the other hand, the kind of ease of care and ease of maintenance. So the harder the blade, the sharper the edge, and therefore the easier it cuts through meat or fish. But at the same time, harder blades also tend to be more brittle, and they tend to chip and be quite tricky to look after, particularly in a domestic setting. So we use a steel called AUS 10. It's a fantastic steel that we think balances, on the one hand, the hardness, has a Rockwell rating of between 58 and 60, and on the other hand, ease of care. So fingers crossed, Kato knives don't get chipped, but at the same time, we hope that they're also really easy to look after. That's the kind of left-sided, logical brain. The heritage that the Japanese have in making steel has meant that the quality of the steel that they produce today is fantastic. The other side I mentioned, the kind of more emotional argument. Listen, I grew up watching samurai movies, reading samurai books, and there's no escaping the fact that when we came to choose a steel to use in our blades, the romance and the tradition of the samurai was a huge influence as well. I would be lying if I said it wasn't. So it's kind of a bit of both. On the one hand, the Japanese make fantastic hard steels that balance brilliantly sharp edges with ease of care. But on the other hand, we love a samurai here at Kato.